My girlfriend shouted in front of everyone. "You'd never be a good husband, I'm not marrying you." She shouted it so loud the whole room went silent. "You'd never be a good husband, I'm not marrying you." I didn't scream back, I just walked out. 20 minutes later, her mom started calling me nonstop. And by morning, I found messages that made me realize this wasn't a one-time joke. My name is Andrew. I'm 30 years old and I live in the US. I'm posting from a throwaway because our friend group overlaps with coworkers, and I'm not trying to make this my personality. My girlfriend Jenna is 29. We've been together 4 years, we've lived together for 2. We had the timeline conversations, marriage soon, kids later, the normal stuff that makes you feel like you're building towards something. So when Jenna shouted, "I'm not marrying you," it didn't just embarrass me, it rewrote our entire relationship in one sentence. The party was an engagement party for my friend Caleb. Restaurant event room, about 50 people, mix of friends and some family. Jenna and I arrived late because of me work ran long, and I thought I could squeeze in one more email before we left. Jenna didn't yell in the car, but she was quiet in that sharp way where silence is punishment. When we walked in, Jenna flipped into social mode. She's like that. She can be irritated at me in the car, then step into a room and suddenly she's charming, funny, affectionate, the girlfriend everyone loves. That difference, private, cold, public charm, was something I'd been noticing more the last year, but I kept excusing it as stress. We mingled, we took photos, we congratulated the couple. Jenna held my hand in front of people like she wanted to be seen as a solid unit. Then Caleb's aunt Tipsy, well-meaning, asked the classic question. "So when are you two next?" She laughed. "I expect a wedding invite." Jenna laughed too and said, "Oh, don't pressure him." Then she looked at me and said, smiling, "Andrew's not exactly husband material." People chuckled politely. I forced a smile because when you're in public, you do that thing where you don't want to be the guy who can't take a joke. I leaned closer and whispered, "Hey, not funny." Jenna sipped her drink and whispered back, "Relax." The aunt laughed and said, "Aw, he seems like a sweet guy." And that's when Jenna's smile changed. It tightened. Her eyes flashed. She turned toward the aunt, then toward the room, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You'd never be a good husband," she said, laughing like it was a punchline. "I'm not marrying you." The room went silent. Not awkward chuckles, silent, dead silent. That kind of silence is physical. It presses on your ears. I felt heat flood my face. I looked around and saw people's expressions shift from party energy to discomfort. Caleb looked confused. His fiancée looked away like she didn't want to witness a private moment. Jenna stood there smiling at me like she'd just proven a point. And that's when something in me clicked. Not anger. Clarity. I put my drink down. Slowly. I didn't want to spill. Spilling would make me look shaken, and I refused to give her that. I looked at Jenna and said calmly, "Okay." Jenna blinked. "Okay?" she repeated. I nodded. "Okay," I said again. Then I turned to Caleb and his fiancée and said, "Congrats, I'm heading out." Caleb's fiancée started to say my name like she wanted to stop me, but I held up my hand gently. "Tonight is about you," I said. Then I walked out. I didn't drag Jenna with me. I didn't argue in the hallway. I didn't ask her why. I just left. Outside, the air was cold. I stood on the sidewalk with my hands shaking and tried to breathe like my body wasn't about to explode. My phone buzzed immediately. Yenna. I didn't answer. Text after text came in. "Where are you going?" "Stop being dramatic." "Come back." "You're embarrassing me." Embarrassing her. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "I'm sorry." Just her. I drove home. We lived together in a rented townhouse. I walked in and our dog ran to me wagging his tail like the world was normal. I sat on the floor and hugged him like I needed something steady. 20 minutes later, the front door opened hard. Jenna walked in like a storm. And the first thing she said wasn't apology. It was, "Are you seriously mad?" I stood up slowly. "Yes," I said. Jenna scoffed. It was a joke. I stared at her. It wasn't funny. Jenna rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, Andrew, everyone teases their partner." "Not like that," I said. "You told a room full of people you're not marrying me." Jenna snapped. "You took it wrong." I said, "How else would I take it?" Jenna threw her purse on the counter and said, "Maybe if you were more reliable, I wouldn't have to say things like that." There it was. The justification. The blame. I said, "So you meant it?" Jenna froze for half a second, then said, "I meant you need to grow up." I felt my stomach twist. "Grow up," I repeated. "By accepting humiliation?" Jenna's voice rose. "You humiliated me by leaving." I stared at her and realized she wasn't upset she hurt me. She was upset she lost control of the room. I said quietly, "I'm not sleeping here tonight." Jenna laughed sharply. "Where are you going? To cry to your friends?" "Yes," I said, "to get space." Jenna's face hardened. "If you leave, don't expect me to wait around." I paused at the doorway. "Don't threaten me," I said. "I'm not your project." I grabbed a bag and left for my friend Matt's house. Matt opened the door, took one look at me, and didn't ask questions. He just said, "Come in." I sat on his couch, staring at my hands, and for the first time in 4 years, I asked myself something I'd avoided. If she can say that in public, what has she been thinking in private? And the answer was about to show up in my phone because, at 2 a.m., Jenna's mom started calling me. Jenna's mom, Karen, called 3 times at 2 a.m. I didn't answer. Then she texted, "Andrew, call me. Jenna is devastated." Devastated. Like Jenna was the victim of my reaction, not the cause. In the morning, I listened to Karen's voicemail. She was crying softly and saying, "Please don't throw everything away. She didn't mean it. She's stressed." I didn't respond. Then Jenna texted me, "We need to talk about your behavior." That sentence made my stomach drop because it confirmed she still thought this was about controlling me, not repairing trust. Matt poured coffee and said, "Do you want to break up?" I stared at the mug. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I just know I'm not marrying someone who can humiliate me like that." Matt nodded. "Good," he said. "That's a start." I agreed to meet Jenna later in a public place coffee shop because I didn't trust her not to escalate in private, and I wanted witnesses without it being dramatic. Jenna arrived late. She sat down and immediately sighed like I was wasting her time. "Are you done with your tantrum?" she asked. I blinked. "Tantrum?" Jenna rolled her eyes. "Leaving in front of everyone? That was childish." I kept my voice calm. "You told me you're not marrying me." Jenna waved her hand. "I didn't mean it literally." I leaned forward. "Then apologize." Jenna stared. "For what?" That question for what was the moment, I felt the relationship crack inside my chest. Because it meant she didn't see her words as harmful. She saw them as allowed. I said, "For humiliating me." Jenna scoffed. "Oh my God, Andrew, you're too sensitive." There it was again, the phrase that erases your feelings. I said quietly, "I'm not too sensitive. I'm finally listening to myself." Jenna's eyes narrowed. "So what? You're ending it." I hesitated. Then I said, "I'm considering it." Jenna's face changed. She looked genuinely shocked, like she hadn't believed I could. She leaned forward, voice softer. "Andrew, don't do this." I asked, "Do you even like me?" Jenna blinked. "What kind of question is that?" "Answer it," I said. She hesitated too long, then said, "Of course." But it sounded like a line she was supposed to say. Then she switched tactics. "You were late," she said sharply. "You're always late. You don't take things seriously. How would you handle marriage?" I nodded slowly. "So your solution was to shame me publicly." Jenna snapped, "It was a joke." I said, "No, it was punishment." Jenna's jaw tightened. "You're twisting it." I took a breath. "I need space," I said. "And I'm not coming home yet." Jenna leaned back and laughed bitterly. "Fine. Sleep on your friend's couch. You'll come back when you calm down." That confidence "you'll come back" made me realize she thought my boundaries were temporary. I stood up. "No," I said. "I'm coming back to get my things." Jenna's eyes widened. "Excuse me?" "I'm not moving out today," I clarified. "But I'm not staying like nothing happened." Jenna's voice rose. "You're overreacting." I didn't respond. I walked out. That afternoon I returned to our townhouse with Matt, not because I needed protection, but because I needed a witness. I packed essentials, documents, laptop, some clothes. Jenna stood in the doorway watching me pack, arms crossed, smiling like she wanted me to snap so she could call me unstable. "You're so dramatic," she said. I said nothing. Then she tried to block the bedroom door. "We're not doing this," she snapped. I looked at her and said calmly, "Move." She didn't. Matt cleared his throat. Jenna, let him take his things. Jenna glared at Matt. Stay out of it. Matt said, then stop controlling him. Jenna's face went red. Controlling? She shrieked. He's the one running away. Then she did something that made my stomach drop, she said loudly. If you leave, I'll tell everyone you cheated. Matt went still. I went still. My heart started pounding. That's a lie, I said. Jenna shrugged. Prove it. That was the moment I understood. Jenna wasn't just mean, she was willing to destroy my reputation to regain control. I took out my phone and said, say that again. Jenna blinked. What? I want you to repeat it, I said calmly. Jenna scoffed, but she couldn't help herself. Fine, she snapped. If you leave me, I'll tell everyone you cheated. No one will believe you. Matt whispered, dude. I didn't react. I just hit stop on the recording and put my phone away. Jenna's face drained of color as she realized what she'd done. You recorded me? She whispered. I nodded. Yes. She lunged forward. Delete it. Matt stepped between us. Back up, he said. Jenna's eyes filled with tears instantly. He's abusing me, she cried, loud enough for neighbors. I felt sick. She was willing to weaponize anything. I grabbed my bag and left. That night, I sent one calm text to Jenna. All communication will be by email. Do not contact my friends or family with false stories. I have documentation. Jenna replied, You're insane. And then her mom called again, this time not crying, angry. You need to fix this, Karen said. Jenna says you're threatening her. I said calmly, Jenna threatened to lie about me cheating. Karen snapped, she wouldn't do that. I replied, I recorded it. Silence. Karen hung up. The next day, the friend group started messaging me because Jenna had already begun telling her version. But this time, I wasn't going to be blindsided. I had receipts, and I was about to use them in the one way that actually works, not public humiliation, but controlled truth to the people who mattered. Jenna's first move was predictable. She texted our mutual friends that I stormed out, that I can't handle commitment, and that I'm emotionally unstable. Not one word about her saying she wouldn't marry me. Then she sent a message to my sister, someone she barely spoke to, saying she was worried about me. That was when I realized she was trying to pre-label me as the problem so my truth would look like damage control. So I did the opposite. I stayed calm and said less. I texted the core friends group one line. I'm not going to argue publicly. Jenna said she won't marry me in front of everyone. I left. Please, don't engage with rumors. Then I sent a private message to Caleb, the engagement party friend. I'm sorry your party was impacted. I didn't want to make a scene. I just needed to leave. Caleb replied, Dude, she was way out of line. I heard it. That validation mattered because it confirmed I wasn't crazy. Then the group chat escalated anyway. Jenna's friend posted, Andrew's being abusive. Someone else said, he probably cheated. I didn't respond in the group chat. Instead, I messaged the people whose opinions mattered and offered to share the recording if needed. Most didn't need it. A few did. When I shared the audio of Jenna saying she'd lie about cheating, the tone changed instantly. People stopped defending her. They didn't attack her, they just got quiet. And quiet is devastating to someone who relies on attention. Jenna panicked and started calling everyone one by one. Some ignored her. Some told her to calm down. One friend told her, that's not okay. Jenna then did what she always did. She cried and blamed stress. But stress doesn't make you threaten someone's reputation. It reveals what you're willing to do. Within a week, our social circle split, not into Team Andrew and Team Jenna, but into people who believe in reality and people who avoid conflict. I chose reality. Then came the next twist. Jenna's mom emailed me. She wrote, if you don't delete the recording, we will take action. Action. Like they had legal power over my phone. I forwarded the email to my attorney friend. He laughed and said, ignore. But I didn't ignore completely. I replied with one line, do not contact me again. Any further threats will be documented. That ended it. Jenna tried one last time. She showed up at Matt's apartment, crying, saying she just wanted to talk. Matt didn't let her in. He texted me, She's here. I'm not opening the door. I realized then how dangerous she could be when rejected. Not physically, socially, narrative-wise. So I accelerated my exit plan. I found a new apartment within 2 weeks, signed a lease, moved essentials. I didn't take shared items. I didn't want to fight. Jenna kept texting from new numbers even after I blocked her. So I moved communication to one email thread only. I offered to split shared costs fairly. I offered to return her things. I offered to coordinate dog custody. We had a dog together. Jenna responded with insults, then apologies, then insults again. Finally, she sent, "I didn't think you'd actually leave." That sentence told me everything. She thought my boundaries were bluffs. During the move-out, Jenna tried to corner me with tears. "I was joking," she whispered. "I didn't mean it." I said calmly, "You meant it enough to say it publicly." She said, "I was angry." I replied, "And you threatened to lie about me cheating? That's who you are when you're angry." She went silent. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I left. It's been a few months. I'm calmer. I sleep better. My friends feel different, smaller circle, but real. Jenna is still telling some people I abandoned her, but most people who were there heard what she said, and the recording stopped the rest. So Aita for leaving after she publicly said she wouldn't marry me? No, public humiliation is a deal breaker. Aita for recording her threat? Also no. When someone threatens to destroy your reputation, documentation is self-defense. The real lesson: someone who loves you doesn't test your loyalty by humiliating you, then call you dramatic when you react. That's not love, that's control. So, what would you have done? Aita for leaving after she said she'd never marry me in front of everyone? If you want more Reddit-style stories, subscribe.